Hey, it's John and with Carb Haters, and this is kind of video number 2. VIOME. I did a VIOME test where they send you this stuff in the mail, and you collect you go to the bathroom in it basically, and you send a little sample out to them, a stool test, and they analyze your gut bacteria, and they take a look at what's the state of your microbiome, the probiotics basically inside your gut. And based on what is going on inside your gut, they can tell you what kinds of foods you would be better off eating and what kind of foods you might not want to be eating. And then they also give some ways to better put your gut in a better place so you can have certain things. So I wanted to do this video basically just on the foods part. And if you're not in our Facebook group, then join our Facebook group, Thriving on a Low Carb Lifestyle. There is a video too, actually video number 1 that I did where I go into my results and everything. But I just wanted to show the foods part on this one because you might find it interesting. One of the things that I preach is that everybody is different. And what one food, like let's say anchovies is a superfood based on my gut bacteria, anchovies are a superfood for me. They could be on your avoid list. They're low carb foods, but for one person it's not doing them justice and it might be causing them inflammation. And on another person it might be perfectly fine. I always preach that you should be working from data. In the beginning, yeah, switch to low carb and everything, but start working with data. Everyone always goes to blood work first, and that's great. And you should see like a functional medicine doctor to get your blood work done. But you should also look at what's going on inside your gut. So these are all foods that, based on my gut bacteria, are superfoods for me. So like cod is really good for me, chicken or egg yolks. And if you click on them, they'll even tell you how many. Look, 3 eggs is what is ideal for me. Garlic is good. I should have 1 clove a day. Celery is really good. Brown rice. So, this isn't necessarily a low carb food. And they mentioned kind of that in here. That having just a little bit of brown rice because of the fiber content might not be too bad for my gut bacteria. And they say a half a cup. So looking over here, half a cup brown rice, a half a cup is somewhere around, if we do net carbs, that's going to be pretty close to about 20 grams of carbs. Okay, so, I'm low carb. I'm not necessarily full keto at all times. I cycle in and out of ketosis. I typically stick somewhere between around anywhere from 30 to 50 carbohydrates per day is my normal. If I go a little above that, I'm not super upset. And other days I go under. Clearly, I could do 20 grams of carbs of rice on some of my days. That's totally doable. That was a study. We don't need to look at that. Where'd my VIOME go? So let's look at Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts, I should have about 5 nuts. And they tell you why, because Brazil nuts are really high in selenium and have antioxidant properties and stuff. Blueberries, and they tell you about how many blueberries you might want to have. You might have about 1 cup of blueberries. Beets are good for me. Apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon a day would be good for me. And that's actually a nice little carb hack as well. Okay, so these are some of my superfoods. And for some reason, I clicked on all foods, but it's not showing all foods. So I might have to go through them kind of one by one here. Let's see, maybe I can add those. Okay. So we're looking at now foods that I can enjoy, minimize, and avoid. Now these might be a little surprising to you because some of them on avoid, you're like, wow, I didn't realize that. And some of them you might realize, wow, these are superfoods or you can enjoy these things. It's like alfalfa sprouts. I never thought about buying alfalfa sprouts at the store, but now I do, and I throw them in my salads. Almond milk, I'm okay to have. Almonds, 20 nuts, I'm okay to have. Some people can't. For me, you're going to see on the avoid list is cashews. Apple arugula, asparagus, avocado I can enjoy. Now they're saying I should have about a half an avocado. I usually have at least one full one a day. I'm good with avocado oil. That's good. You don't want to be low carb cooking with avocado oil, and you do a gut test and realize this is on an avoid list. And something like that has happened for me. Now you can see bananas, like one whole banana, that's not low carb, of course, but my gut bacteria will process bananas very well. So I probably still won't be eating bananas unless they're really green. But grass-fed beef says 1 and 1.5 ounces. That's clearly not a lot. But let's see, lean grass-fed beef, 2 ounces. So you can see, just scrolling through here, some of the different kinds of things that you might be able to put in your diet. I can have butter. That's good to know. I have more than 1 teaspoon a day, probably. Catfish I can enjoy. I don't like catfish. Cayenne pepper, and tells me, okay, I can have about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Won't be too bad for my gut bacteria, and my gut can process it well. Hey, cheese, look at that. How many people do we hear about that have, and maybe it's you, problems with dairy? Well, it's nice to know that my gut bacteria processes dairy decent. Dark chicken, white chicken, cilantro. So these are all things that I can enjoy. Definitely coffee I enjoy. It says 1 cup. I drink about 3 cups a day. And you're low carb, so you have to figure on which particular things do you want to eat and which things don't you want to eat. Trying to get down into some of the other stuff, but this should give you an idea of just different things that maybe you could try eating. Ginger is good. Goat. Oh man, I don't know. Have you ever tried goat? I didn't like it. Never tried goose. I should try goose. Green beans. I make green beans all the time. That's good to know. Halibut I can enjoy. Hazelnuts. You can see I have about 15 hazelnuts a day. Should be okay. Heavy cream. Only about 2 tablespoons is what it's saying. So it doesn't want me going overboard on dairy, but I can have some. Herring. That's good. Hickory nuts. Never had those. You ever had hickory nuts? I haven't. Kimchi. About 1 cup of kimchi should be okay. And we're going to get down to, and this is one right here, kiwi. It says 2 whole ones. Well, I'll have a little bit kiwi once in a while. Did you know that you can eat the skin, and that's actually really healthy? So lettuce, lime, some lobster, MCT oil, 1 tablespoon. Macadamia nuts, one of my absolute most favorite nut in the world. Macadamia nuts, thank goodness I can have, but it says only 10 is ideal. Miso is yummy. So again, I'm just scrolling through these kind of slow because I want you to be able to see some food ideas of things that maybe you could incorporate. And if you have any questions about any of these that you see on video here and you want me to click in and let you know how many it says that I should probably have, because you know what, maybe it's something similar for you, who knows. Let me know. I'll click on it. I'll go back, click on it, and let you know. Unsweetened pickles too, so I can enjoy pickles. Pineapple, something that I won't really have too much of. 1 cup isn't a whole lot, but that's definitely higher in sugar. I love pistachios. 35 nuts, sweet, because I love those. Pomegranate's really, really healthy for you. I can have some lean pork. Pumpkin seeds. I use pumpkin seeds in my salads all the time. Quail. Haven't tried quail yet. I need to try that. Does it taste like chicken? I don't know. If you've had quail, let me know. Safflower oil I will not enjoy because that is a seed oil, and seed oils are more inflammatory. But based on my gut bacteria, they can process it okay, apparently. But still, that's just my gut bacteria. It can cause other damage with like LDL and stuff. Sauerkraut, super good for you. I can't stand sauerkraut. I wish I could. Shallots are really good. I love shallots. Sheep milk. Have you tried sheep milk? I haven't. I like snap peas. Those are good. Soybeans. Make sure if you eat soybeans, they are non-GMO. Do not eat them if they're not non-GMO or organic or something. They will have been sprayed with pesticides. Strawberries, 1 cup. That's cool. I put a little bit of strawberry in a smoothie. All right, some trout, some tuna, wild pole caught, and I like tuna. I do tuna with no bread. I make like a tuna salad. Turmeric, of course, is always really good. Vanilla, veal, elk. You can use these instead of hamburger meat, like cow meat. You could use these instead if you wanted. Vinegar, walnuts, about 12 nuts as far as walnuts go. Unfortunately, they're not really on my favorite list. White mushrooms, some wild rice, winter squash, yellow squash. I eat yellow squash a lot, zucchini as well. So now here I'm getting down to the minimize. The minimize ones is like once in a while. So 1 cup. Some of these might say a little something, a teaspoon of cane sugar. I won't do that, but a teaspoon isn't a terrible amount. But anyways, cassava, I could have a 1/2 cup. Cassava is high in carbs, but it's paleo. It's a actual food that grows in the ground. Minimize cauliflower, chestnuts, coconut water, couscous, dates. These are things that maybe once in a while I can have. Don't have to worry about kale. I really can't stand the taste of it, but that's me personally. Rice milk, Himalayan sea salt. So 1/8 of a teaspoon, they say, is all that I should be having, which is crazy because I do use more than that. But don't tell VIOME. 1 package of stevia, that's it. I should really minimize stevia. And here's one that I hope that with what I've been doing for a while, I'm getting a little better with, because I love sweet potatoes and yams. I like to cook them, and then what I do is I'll bake them in the oven, and I'll put like some garlic salt on the outside, and I'll cook them in the oven. It takes about, with a sweet potato or a yam, it takes 350 degrees, somewhere around, 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes. Depends on the size. They come in so many different sizes. And then I'll chill them in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'll reheat. I'll just cut off some slices just like that. I'll cut off like maybe 4 slices, maybe 5, but 4 or 5 slices, and I'll reheat them in a pan, and I'll eat them with my eggs once in a while. And cooking, cooling, and then reheating starches like sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, and rice actually lowers the glycemic load on it. It turns it a little bit more into a resistant starch. Not fully, but a little bit. So it's less of a glycemic, it'll be less of a spike on my glucose. Plus, if you eat things in a certain order, like fats and protein first, and then you eat these carbs, you have even less of a spike. White rice I should minimize. Okay, so now here's the avoid list. So check this out. Now, you would say, look at how many of these things we're going to see on here and say, wow, those are low carb. I eat that all the time. Broccoli. I was eating broccoli all the time. I would eat it raw. I would eat it cooked. I would cook it in butter. I would eat it raw and dip it in hummus, red pepper hummus dip, which you'll see like hummus is on here, I believe. No, not hummus. It's not on here, but pepper. I like the red pepper hummus. Well, not only should I be avoiding broccoli, but I was dipping my broccoli in red pepper hummus, which is a bell pepper. So based on my gut bacteria, you can see I have this pepper mild virus, model virus, or whatever, that is in my gut. And right now I need to avoid these bell peppers, because when I consume these bell peppers, the little virus things like that are feeding on it, and it's letting them grow and proliferate. The fix for it is avoiding the food, because you just don't want to put into your gut what feeds the bad bacteria. Now, I want to say something here that I would eat these things. Brussels sprouts too. Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and red pepper hummus. And I had red bell peppers. I like red bell peppers. I ate them all the time. I did not have gas. I did not have bloating. I did not feel any negative effects whatsoever by them. But apparently, I did have some little gut virus things. I'll show you in the results in just a second. And because of those things, I have to avoid these foods because they thrive off of these foods. So I got to remove these foods for now. The viruses will hopefully pass through because they have no food to feed off of, because they don't feed off of the sweet potatoes. They feed off of this, or they feed off of this. So I take them out of my gut. Viruses go away. Then I can start having these again. This is why, like, I'm 90 days out. I'm more than 90 days. I'm like 5 months or so out from my last test, and I have been avoiding these things really, really good. And I'm curious now, when I retest, can I start eating them again? So cashews is another one, kidney beans, mustard greens. I mean, look at these, look, this stuff, I mean, not kidney beans, but mustard greens, cabbage, broccoli, all these things, these are low carb. Paprika. How many spices do you use that have like a spice blend or something that has paprika in it? If you have a paprika virus in your gut, you didn't know about it. It's just causing a little bit of inflammation inside your body and you just don't feel it. Then you should be avoiding that. Tomatoes low carb. Put tomato in a salad. So I've been avoiding tomatoes. Red sauce. I like red sauce, but now I've been avoiding red sauce. So let me see if I can find where it says that. I think it's here. So I'll click on virus. You can see I've got these little virus things in there, and I've Googled them. Like this one here, I mean, look, everybody has a little bit of bad gut bacteria in them and a little bit of different virus things in them, and usually they don't cause much of a problem. But like this one here, I Googled, and like so many people have, like, it's a very small one or something, so I'm not too worried about that. But here's one, like this tomato one, this tobacco mild one. I don't know what tobacco has to do with it. I don't smoke or anything like that, so it has something else. The pepper one, the paprika one. So the idea is take those avoid foods out of this list, and then hopefully these go away. So anyways, that is a little rundown of kind of like my foods portion of my gut test, and I thought you might find it interesting to see and read about. So and with anchovies, I mean, knowing that this is a superfood for my body, I don't particularly like eating anchovies, but there's a lot of fish oils that are out there, right? Well, maybe I should be looking for fish oils, which I have, which have anchovies. They're derived from anchovies. That would be ideal. And I think the herring was on here as well. It was on the Enjoy, I think. But I have a krill oil from Bulletproof that I take, and I believe herring is one of the fish oils that it uses along with krill oil. But anyways, I hope you found this insightful. And if you want me to click on any of them and tell you what any of the results were, let me know.